Pedro won't be here. He's got a conflict.
That's right. All right, we'll go ahead and just start then. It's
Yep.
8:01.
Well,
So
I'm Ken
good
Spangler.
morning.
I'm here as well.
Oh, hey, Ken. Good morning.
Morning.
So we'll go ahead and start the January 26, 2022 board meeting, first meeting of the year. We'll go ahead and start with the approval of the December meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything about the minutes? I see nobody raising a hand. All right, can we go ahead and get approval, a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is that
Moved
Deb?
by Deb. Mhm,
Second.
yes.
Again?
Any questions or issues? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and accept the minutes. Let's go ahead and move on to the January treasurer's report.
Thank you. I think the only thing I want to call out here is, of course, first of the year, we're always cash poor. If you notice the ending balance at the end of 2021, 13,575. Our current checking account as of yesterday was 25,733, and the reserve is 41. Last month, the reserve was 51, and we took 10 grand out of there to continue operations until some of the new money comes in. It serves as a savings account for us and also puts in money that will be used for local match requirements for some of our grants. So we don't like to delve into that, but as soon as the outstanding money comes in, we'll put that 10,000 back. And you can see outstanding invoices. We've got a couple of grants out there that the reimbursements haven't come in yet. It's always slow from December to January. Just people aren't at work, things don't get processed. The Adams County local match for our DRCOG grant, the invoice went out the 1st of January. Usually takes them 30 days to process that. Membership renewals, sent those out. Some of them have been paid right away. Google came in, thank you, Ken. We have invoices out to Amazon and to a number of other memberships who renew in January. So all being said, I think we're in good shape. I have not yet invoiced NADA for their membership and for their admin fee. I haven't yet invoiced the city of Thornton and the city of Westminster and the city of Broomfield for their local match for the Flex Ride. So there's another 30, 40, 60,000 out that will go out in invoices this month. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Karen?
Karen, this is Emily. I just wanted to see if you received our membership payment for St. Anthony North.
No, and I haven't billed you for this year yet. We got the one last year, and remember we had to go through the foundation to get that.
Yeah, we do have a different process, so just wanted to make sure we weren't one of the ones that was outstanding.
No, you are not one of the ones that's outstanding. And because we got that, I think second quarter, we'll bill you second quarter again for the annual.
Any other questions? I do not see any, so can we get a motion to approve the January treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second, Troy.
So who
I
did,
don't know
who
if
did
that
it turn
was-
out
it
to
was-
be?
Kyle or Emily? Okay, Kyle, and then Troy second.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on, we'll go ahead and look at the ratification of the new board members, Waddy Burgos and Craig Eichner.
So I'll just preface this by saying we're excited to have two new board members. They both graciously accepted the invitation to be part of the board. They've been sitting in on the meetings for the last couple of meetings. And this kind of rounds out who we believe is our board for this year. You know, Joe Dudek, general manager of Amazon, doesn't show up, doesn't have a rep, but our agreement with Amazon is that he would be listed in our in our board, we can go back and touch base with him again, and see if they continue to want to do that. Think that rounds us out. I don't believe Joe Jean is renewing his membership, and he'll be off the board. He's retiring and leaving his engineering company. So we are getting some of that where people are deciding it's time in their life to retire and take some time. So we appreciate that Joe was part of this for a while. So what I think we really just need is a vote to ratify the 2022 board and officers. Now, if you look up there, we see that Mayor Pro Tem Sandgren is our chair this year. No one is in the slot of vice chair, and we'd really love someone to self-nominate for that. The vice chair, of course, runs the meeting if the chair can't come, but it's a placeholder, and there's nothing that says Jessica can't be, if she volunteers, can't be the chair again next year. It's not necessarily a change every year. So we are looking for someone to step up and be the vice chair so we can round out this slate.
And just remember, we're gonna make it a goal to keep this in 1 hour. I know
Yes,
that's a time, we all have a time crunch that we're
Yep.
dealing with in the world. And so the goal is 1 hour meetings. Obviously that will sometimes not be the case, but it would be wonderful to have anyone self-nominate. Because then you're just gonna have to run the meeting when I'm not here anyways, if that's the case. And then you're really gonna have to self-nominate.
oh, come on, leaders, step up. Well, Pedro's not here. We could always make him do it because he's not here, but I don't really want to do that to him.
I'm okay with the uncomfortable silence, just FYI.
Oh my gosh, I was waiting for somebody else to step up since I'm, kind of the new guy. But if nobody else is gonna do it, I guess I'm gonna have to.
Yay!
We love
And there
that.
was a question from Craig, and we do want to list Craig on here. Looks like we did not put Craig Hebrink on here in the board, and we should. He's a non-voting ex officio member. He's a nonprofit, non-paying member, but let's add him, Carson, to this list because we value his participation. It's just like Jean Putman. We recognize Jean's support and participation, and he's a non-paying member. He's not a representative of an organization. But we still appreciate Jean being on here. So Carson, you can change this slide when you get a chance and put Craig Hebrink on here too. I'm sorry we missed you, Craig. That's probably my fault. I give the direction on these slides. So, and then we'll move Waddy to the vice chair position. Yay. We're excited to
Yeah,
have
thank you.
you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's great. So now with the vice chair being Waddy and adding Craig Hebrink to the list of board and officers, we would look for a vote to ratify this slate.
Can we get a motion to ratify the slate?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Who was the second?
That's Ken.
Okay, thanks, Ken. All right, any questions or comments about the motion? Any issues? I do not see any, so we'll go ahead and accept the motion. And we have our slate of officers and moving forward.
Thank you. Wonderful.
So 2022 Board of Directors, we just looked at that,
Yep.
right? So then the 2022 proposed budget review is up next.
Yes, I want to take just a little bit of time on this to give you a thumbnail of how Carson and I worked on this together and put this together. So maybe if we could just look at the 2021 draft and the 2021 actual. And if we look at the revenues first, we always anticipate how much money we'll have in existing memberships and how many new members we will have. And because we're doing things virtual, we're not out in the public as much. In 2021, I really didn't anticipate very many new members. And I thought we could keep everybody we had. If you look at what we had actually, we didn't keep everybody. We lost two members that didn't renew, and we got 2 new ones. So that was good. And then the Adams County local match on 2021 draft, we carried over the funds we carried over the same amount in the proposed budget that we had in 2020, 17,210, but the local match requirement went up from DRCOG for 2021 and was actually 2787. And so we got 2787. It's a 2-year contract. And so in 2022, we anticipate getting 2787 from Adams County as well. When you look at the next one, commuter footprint analysis fee, we didn't have that as an option before, but we got it this year. $600 is what we charge Northwest Parkway to do their commuter footprint analysis. They volunteered to pay for that. It's a corporate requirement that they have, and we were willing to do that as a pilot for free, but they said, no, why don't you put your time and effort in there? And Catherine put her hours in that took her to do that analysis. And so we've left that as a line item in case we're able to do that again in 2022 for other companies, but we don't know what that would be. So we left that item blank for 2022. The NADA contract in 2021 was $23,400 for the admin and $12,500 for the NADA Smart Commute membership. So NADA pays us to do their admin, and they also give us a membership fee. The membership fee is based on the 13 communities that are part of NADA and ACE Rep as well. And then the 12.5 really means that anybody who belongs to NADA technically belongs to Smart Commute without having to pay an individual fee. That's very much unlike what happens at US 36 Commuting Solutions, where every single member jurisdiction has to pay something based on their population. We just chose to do it a little bit differently. So if you look at 2022, we are reducing the NADA admin contract for a number of reasons. I'm leaving, and so my time will not be necessary in that contract. We'll just have 2 people from Smart Commute working on the NADA admin. That would be Carson and Tammy. The scope of work is reduced quite a bit because we've gone virtual. We're not doing breakfast. We're not doing things in person. There's no extraneous cost for us. What we really have in the scope is the time. We have some cost for hosting the website. There's a few other things in there, but we've reduced this. And partially it's because NADA has not increased their dues to their members for a while. And if we continued with the 23.4, it pretty much diminishes their budget for 2022. So Carson and I made an executive decision to reduce that fee based on the reduction of the hours that I would put in. I'm not going to put in any hours. So we think that 20,000 is fair, and we're going to propose that to NADA tomorrow. So I'm hoping the board is okay with that. And as I go through these, if there's questions on any line item, please stop me. On the Can Do Colorado grant, that was a one-time grant. We got that in 2021 and we spent that in 2021. And that was for the 3 videos, telework videos. The RTD marketing partnership grant, we get 15,000 a year from RTD. The reason it comes in at 2021 as 9057 is because that Q4 hasn't been paid yet. So we rolled that into 2022 as revenue. We'll get the 15 grand for 2022, but we'll also have about 5,900 left from 2021 that's already been billed but hasn't been received yet. The Dr. Cog Partnership Grant, this is the operating money that we have from Dr. Cog. It's a $200,000 2-year grant. And what we have left in the grant from the remainder of this grant and the new grant that we'll get in April, we've estimated that to be about $130,300. And that's the grant that pays a lot of our salaries, pays for things like our website security, a number of things we can bill against that grant. And this is the grant that every one of the TMOs get. We all get the same amount, no matter how much your staff is, how much you're paying people, how big the population or geographic area you serve. We all get 200,000 every 2 years for that. Under the FlexRide program funds, we anticipate 31,000 left in that fund balance. Those FlexRide program funds have been paid by RTD through the FTA grant that we got. They've been paying the upfront costs. We haven't paid local match yet. So this year we think our good estimate with Jean giving us the numbers is there's about 31,000 left in that grant before it's all on us to pay it. The general amount that we pay on that every month is about 5,000, or will be paying on that is about 5,000. The FlexRide Local Match Scholarship Fund, it has a big number there, and that number is the amount that we get from Amazon, from St. Anthony North, from Thornton, Westminster, and Broomfield. And we have 51,000 now in that account. And this year, adding the amount that's coming in brings us to 108. We may need to touch that this year. We may not need to touch that this year. We just don't know yet until those bills come through. But it's a pretty healthy reserve. And you'll see those numbers as they come in will be in our savings account or our local match account. And then we got a new grant last year called the CDOT TDM grant. It's $60,000. 20,000 of that will go to a contractor who's redoing our website logo, all that kind of stuff. And the 40,000 will just go to pay salaries. And then last year at the end of the year, we had 13,575. So we've just carried that over to give us a total revenue, expected revenue of 459,992. That's substantially larger than what we had last year. But when you look at it, it's really the FlexRide savings account that's bumped those numbers up, and the new TDM grant that we got. And I think under existing members, we've just anticipated we can keep who we have. We don't know if we'll get new ones, but we hope we'll get new ones. So this is a proposed budget. This is our best guess. And then if you go down here to expenditures, we anticipate that the FlexRide and e-bike program will be much higher expense for us this year because we've used up so much of the money already in there. The way this works now is these numbers are the numbers that we've spent. And the grant has paid for all the other expenses. As we buy down that grant, there's a bigger amount that's going to be due from us. And we anticipate it's 134. Payroll is interesting because payroll is going down. Payroll was higher, much higher last year than we anticipated. And that's because we rolled Jean Shreve's salary into that. She makes 55,000 a year. And there were a couple of other things that, oh, I know, I gave everybody a raise last year. So that's the difference in what I had estimated and what we actually spent. Because you're taking my salary out of there. And there's some other changes. We think 240 is probably an accurate number. And then payroll expenses are going to go up because I'm a contract employee and I pay my own payroll expenses. But everyone now that will be staff paid, except for Catherine, will be an employee of Smart Commute, and payroll expenses will go up to reflect that. And then we threw $5,000 in here for some new equipment, computer, printer, that sort of thing, anticipating we might hire somebody new sometime this year. Mileage reimbursements, those are probably self-explanatory. What's interesting on this one that says marketing and newsletter, we put in 12 grand as estimated in 2021, and we really only used 723. And a lot of that is because this was partially production costs, and we didn't go anywhere or do anything. We didn't build any maps. We didn't have to have any physical materials. Everything was electronic. So we bumped that back down. If we get to go out into the public, there's a little bit of leeway there on that line item. Office supplies, bump that up a little bit. Telephone reimbursement, everybody gets reimbursement for their telephone. I don't, and I don't get mileage because I'm a contractor, but everybody else gets it if they're an employee. CDOT TDM consultant costs. This is that TDM grant that's 60,000, and 20,000 of that we put into the budget to pay for the consultant who's doing our website refresh and our brand refresh. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Insurance, travel and training. We didn't do any travel and training last year. We may this year. We put the money in there in case there's an opportunity to do that. Registration and fees. Those are things like when we have to pay to do something at AC Rep or the Association of Commuter Transit. We have a membership that we have with them. That's a pretty low amount, but also this amount is reimbursable in our grant. And then miscellaneous expenses last year were things like we got a post office box. We had to do an upgrade to the Zoom meetings to get all the Zoom meetings that we put in now to do our staff meetings and everything. There were a number of things that were in that line item, and I bumped it up to 8 grand because we don't know yet what this year is going to look like, and just wanted to put that in there. And then you can see we have unprogrammed expenses at around 20 grand. That gives us pretty good flexibility, I think, for this year. Fingers crossed that all my revenue projections come in, and this is extra money that we can allocate if we have to, or carry it over to 2023. I think that's it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Kyle?
So Karen, just to confirm for everyone, the payroll reflects, is that four folks? Carson, Tammy, Jean, and Catherine?
It reflects 5 people.
5 people.
So Carson is the only full-time employee. Tammy, Catherine, and Jean are all part-time employees. So Carson's salary is the largest, and then Jean. And Jean's salary is reimbursed through the Flex Ride money that comes in. Carson's most likely 2/3 of that are going to be reimbursed by the CMAC grant. Tammy works 95 hours a month. Catherine works about 60 hours a month. So that's a pretty good salary amount for as many people as we have working, even though there's only one full-time person.
All right, thank you.
Other questions? I do not see any.
And as it's a proposed budget, as we have to make tweaks to this, or as we make changes due to more revenue or less revenue, we'll bring it back to the board with the changes so you can see it as we move forward. I think it looks to be in pretty good shape. Fingers crossed.
Are you looking for a motion for this? Is this just a review?
No, I think we should probably approve the proposed budget so we can use this. One of the requirements we have for every one of these grants is to give them a list of our officers, our Secretary of State documents, and an approved budget.
Okay. So can we get a motion to approve the proposed budget?
So
So
moved.
moved, Jessica.
Thank you, Troy. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second, Kyle. Any questions or comments? Anyone opposed to approving the budget? I do not see any, so we'll go ahead and accept the budget as proposed.
And I do want to say, Carson and I sat down a couple of times and we went through all of this, and I have to report he was not a deer in the headlights. So that was good. It's like, okay, I get this. So you can speak yourself, Carson, on this, but we worked through every one of the revenue and expenses categories and talked about the justification for all of that. And there's going to be a seamless transition if Carson follows me. Certainly, this budget will help guide the decisions that we make as a nonprofit.
Setting me up for success there, Karen, I would say.
Well, you got it, Carson. You got it. So, I mean, you understand it completely.
All right, let's move on to item 6, which is the Transform 2022 10-year anniversary update.
I'll give that to Carson.
So we have decided as a group, as a staff, that it's best to hold off on holding a Transform. So our intended date was going to be March the 4th, which is a Friday. And we've decided that it doesn't make a lot of sense to push for something right now to get it done. We don't have the bandwidth necessarily there to make something happen that's worth honoring what Smart Community has meant to the region for the last 10 years and what it looks like moving forward for the next 10 years. So that being said, we're shooting for a summer or fall date with an in-person event, maybe at Adams County's new facility, hopefully something like that, with the theme being, like I said, 10 years back and 10 years forward. We're continuing to work. Karen is helping me identify some speakers and confirm those. Some folks in the past that have helped make this region what it is for transportation, and then maybe somebody looking into the future. We welcome any feedback on that as well. Karen, what have I missed? That's basically it.
I think that's it. And we thought the celebration, we could do a virtual one, but we really thought something in person all the ones we've done in person have been so dynamic. We challenge ourselves to always do a unique job. It's not the same old speakers every time. It's not the same venue every time. So I told Carson I'd be happy to help him through this next month to identify who those speakers would be, talk about what we did in the past, and sort of put a skeleton framework together. And then I'll come back. I'll come back for this. Well, you better invite me. I think it'll be a fun thing to look forward to, and it won't just be let's get it done and let's get it over with. So yeah, I feel more comfortable in all of us at the staff talking about pros and cons. We really struggled with this. But then it was pretty apparent that this is the right way to go. And hopefully you all agree with that.
Looks like Deb had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer help on venue selection. I've been on the prowl since I seem to be the event queen at AC Rep. So I've got a lot of venue ideas and thoughts and new things to think about, Carson and team. So when you get to that point, I'll help brainstorm with you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
Deb.
That might be oh, I shouldn't say this. I was that might be a drinking meeting, Deb.
Oh, twist my arm.
All right. Any questions or comments or concerns about any of that?
Jessica, just a question. I'm excited about having this potentially in person when we think the time is right. I did notice in the budget, are we assuming that this is going to be a break even? Because I don't recall that there were any dollars allocated for this event. Are we
Yes,
assuming
so
break even? Okay.
That's a great question. So we assume a break even. In the past, we've pretty much been able to do break even, depending on whether we have to pay for the venue or have to pay for a speaker. But we have in the past asked for sponsorships for Transform. And when we do the sponsorships or tickets that they're required, it's generally run around 10,000. And we've generally broken even. If we find we're not, we'll bring that back in a line item and we'll use some of that unprogrammed fund to put back in there.
Good question. All right, well, we'll just wait and see what comes moving forward, identifying speakers and then a venue. We'll wait to hear after your happy hour result.
And you're invited, Jessica.
Oh, you know, I'll be there. All right, let's talk about the Smart Commute website and logo refresh.
This one's me too. Like we said, Karen said in the budget, we have this $60,000 grant. It was a CDOT TDM support grant, a non-competitive grant for all the TMOs in the region. And our application was twofold. One was to redo our website and have a brand refresh. And the second part of that is the bike gap connectivity analysis and final product of some kind that will come later, kind of in the second phase of this. So phase one is our website and logo refresh. We have a contractor on board, a local Denver guy that has helped with other TMAs to do this project. So he understands what we're doing and understands our brand. Which is very helpful because explaining this industry can be challenging, I think, from a design and logo perspective. Within the scope of that, we're doing a full website rebuild. We are going to take the old website and do it aside, and we're going to become just Smart Commute. And like we know from last year, we purchased that domain last year from a group in North Carolina, smartcommute.org. And we're going to start over fresh on the new website in terms of the way it looks and the way it interacts in the menus. A lot of the content will be the same, probably pared down with the help of a copywriter, a professional copywriter. We have a lot of good content, but our entire team is detail oriented and we tend to overwrite things, which is not interesting for people looking at the website, to be quite frank. So we'll work on that a little bit. A part of this that's happening simultaneously, and part of the reason we went with this individual group to help us do this project, is they're able to do a logo refresh and brand refresh at the same time in conjunction with the website rebuild. And that's what they've done in the past as well for smaller scale projects like this. So we're in the process of going through the logo rebuild. Our logo right now, as a lot of you know, was made by an intern a long time ago, and it's served a great purpose for a long time, but it's time to redo it while we have the ability of a professional to go through and explain, logo designs to us. So that's going on, and there will be a new logo and potentially maybe some new colors, but not that crazy. We'll probably stick with the green just because that's who we are. The timeline for all of this, which is really amazing, is early to mid-March. Our initial deadline was that March 4th Transforum kind of event where we're going to roll it out. But now that that's going to be pushed back a little bit, there may be an opportunity to spread it out just a few more weeks if we choose to do so. I think that's pretty much it. I'm happy to take questions, or Karen, please chime in if I'm missing something.
Yeah, two things that I think that means something to me are
Mhm.
this grant has to be used in full by June. So it won't be, and our contractor knows that. Our contractor knows what our deadline is. We have to get everything paid for and submitted by June in order to get that reimbursement. So that 60 grand is going to come back to us in June. And then the other is, when we first started this, we were called North Area Transportation Alliance Transportation Management Organization. We were we were natatmo.org, and nobody knew what that was. So we changed to Smart Commute, but we couldn't say Smart Commute because we didn't own the URL. So it was Smart Commute Metro North. And it was Deb Obermeyer from the Metro North Chamber who asked us to put Metro North on there. As you know, that's a very long email. Our emails will be much shorter. It will just say Smart Commute, and it'll be maybe C Priest, maybe instead of Carson Priest or Carson.Priest. When we first did it, we followed Thornton's process, the first name dot, second name at, so anyway, lots of changes, but I think that's going to be the most exciting, to not have to write in that whole, Karen.Stewart@smartcommutemetronorth.org. So
Yeah, lots of room for error in those as we get or don't get a lot of emails because of that.
yeah,
Ugh.
but I'm sorry to intercede. I'm sure Carson would be happy to take questions.
Any questions? I'm trying to scroll through. I don't see anybody's hand up.
I think
All
maybe
right.
one of the things we might do, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, Carson, is when we have had a number of logos proposed to us, and we have gone through all those iterations and chosen a handful out of the many that some of the logos were all the same, but different placement, different fonts, different size, all of that kind of thing. And so we are going through and making those cuts. And I think when we have, what do you think, Carson, 2 or 3 that the staff thinks are good opportunities, we'll bring them to the board to look at, or we'll ask several of you on the board who deal with logos and have corporate logos and that kind of thing to weigh in on which one seems to fit our mission the best.
Yeah, I think that's right, Karen. Once we get down a little further, it's a little overwhelming right now, to be quite honest.
Yeah, we spent about an hour on it at our staff meeting on Monday, looking through all these logos and the difference in the font and the difference in the placement. And, it's unusual, but we all came up with the same 2 or 3 that we liked out of, I don't know, 10 or 12. So
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing some of that as it moves along. So we've got about 20 minutes left. I kind of want 15 minutes because I'd like the last 5 minutes to actually kick out Karen and Carson just for a minute. So if we can do 15 minutes of the whiteboard discussion, that would be handy.
Yeah.
Helpful. Thank you.
okay, Carson, this is yours.
Sure. So last time we met, these bullet points you see here are some of the work plan items that we proposed as a group in 2022. I'll quickly run through those, and then I think what I'm going to do is pull this PowerPoint down and I can type notes, just like we would be in a real person on a whiteboard. If you guys have ideas for what our work plan should look like, big or small, we're more than happy to take those here today. And I think that's what we're looking for, although we do only have 10 more minutes. So let's see how far we can get. I'll run through these just real quick so we can refresh our memory on what we proposed last time, and then we can move into that. First was revamping and refresh of the website, like we just talked about. Our business and employer outreach program support. This is the main part of our work, right? This is a lot of what we do through CMAC, our business outreach, and that's going to include the commute footprint analysis that Catherine's working on, and our surveys, and a lot of those things. Another thing we want to focus on this year is the regional bike network data collection. So that's phase 2 of our $60,000 grant that'll be coming in the spring with a wrap-up time in June for that work. That provides up-to-date gap analysis of the North area bike network connectivity. The outcome of that will probably look something like a toolkit to create company shared bike programs, providing kind of information and access to those jurisdictions that are looking for information about bike gap network, with the target in the future being maybe some kind of a bike map program or an online bike map that has gap analysis included, so that we can reference that as we move forward. Each jurisdiction moves forward, and DRCOG as a region. So that is it. Let me close down the PowerPoint. And I think what we're looking here for is ideas for our work plan, big or small, for 2022 that the board would like to see.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up. Kyle, I see you took your mute off.
Love to see the work plan related to the bike network. So that's awesome. One thing that was really helpful this past year, Karen was very much involved in discussions with some of the local municipalities and with CDOT. And I'm not sure really what you would call this, but as additional CDOT, as CDOT is determining its priorities for the region, as federal funds become available potentially, some helping the board understand not only understand, but then advocate on some of these larger projects that are in our North Metro region, quite frankly, so that we can at least advocate for securing some portion of the big pie, because I think we all recognize that our region has been sort of on the short end of that stick. So I'm not sure what that's called, but trying to ensure that we have a seat at the table and can influence and certainly advocate on behalf of our region for getting the dollars that we think are going to become available.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And at NADA, we're hoping to have a presentation on some of this federal funding. There's a number of pots, and the transit and highway pots are the most interesting because there's an opportunity to combine some of the money from each of those to do projects and identify projects. You can always invite me back as your CDOT commissioner to have somebody from CDOT do a presentation, but I think that's great. And something I guess we assumed and didn't put down was the advocacy that Smart Commute can have to support any kinds of grants that our region is going after. I'm thinking Mobility Hub, I'm thinking State Highway 7. We have a subcommittee for 84th. The improvements that need to happen in 84th. And Gene Putman says his audio is not working. I think he wants to speak. Anyway, yes, that's great to add this.
Okay, perfect. Gene, I don't know if you're able to work that out or if you want to type in your comment or question if you can't get your audio to work.
While he's working on that, can I just offer, as we're the major business organization for the Metro North area, Adams County and beyond. I really want to partner even closer to connect our businesses and municipalities with Smart Commute. So let's put that down as a partnership that we need to work on so that we can spread the word and be a help to you, and it's a help to everybody. So count us in.
Thanks, Deb. And I see Ken's hand is up as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what Kyle and Karen were saying about, make sure that things like the Mobility Hub at Highway 7, I-25 expansion further north, and then, the improvements along Highway 7 are captured somewhere in here. And then the other thing that's not captured in here, and I don't know if there's anything to do in 2022, is related to the N line, and still trying to advocate for pushing to get that to go further north, which has always been kind of part of the plan, but I know it's kind of way down on the priority list right now, so maybe it doesn't fit into 2022.
It's definitely not low on the priority list for those cities up here in the north. So we
true.
are still fighting and begging and pleading and every opportunity speaking about it. So yeah, we're definitely not forgetting about
Yeah,
that.
no, that's true. Maybe low on the priority list for RTD, but leaving it on here is our work
Yeah.
plan, right? So we just don't let it fall off the radar, that we keep pushing every chance we can.
I love that. And then, so we do have tomorrow, I guess we'll talk, well, I don't know if we'll talk about it at NADA or not with this Front Range Passenger Rail nominations, or those in the committee who are looking to get nominated to be on that board. I asked last night support for Julie Mullica to her being appointed to that board, because we need somebody on this side to continue advocating, because we will not have any voice at the table if that rail line gets pushed over to the far west side of town, which is likely given who's actually running that show. So we
Yeah.
want to make sure we have that voice at the table. And it
Those
doesn't
nom-
matter. Yeah.
Those nominations were due on Monday, and I did send a letter of reference and support for Julie from my CDOT Transportation Commission letterhead. You know, it's true. I'm glad that Jean brought this up. We need updates on that special district committee, special district board. So once it's established in March, we know who's on the board, and they start making some decisions. We also have a connection. I can send it out to everybody if you want to sit in on those existing meetings. One of them is on this Friday. They meet every other month as the Southwest Chief and Front Range Passenger Rail Committee. And that committee changes and goes away in March and just becomes the Front Range Passenger Rail Special District Board. So I'm happy to send you that. I'll make a note to send everybody the link to those meetings.
And so Dr. Cog has a piece of that pie as well. We get to nominate, right? We have a voice in that. And so I'm on the
Yes.
nominating committee, and we're meeting Tuesday. And so we know that we missed the cutoff date for the applications to have support submitted. So we're just sending it to Doug to include in the nominating committee packet as a whole, a letter of support.
Great. And my letter went to Dr. Cog as well, because Julie is wanting to be nominated out of the 4 that Dr. Cog gets to put on the board.
That's right. I think this is a good, you know,
Yeah.
it's a pretty sizable work plan. So I don't know if we want to add any more to it. I think it's going to take all effort to do what you're doing there. And it looks like Troy has his hands up.
That was a bit inadvertent, but I did want to let the group know I have to rush off to the United Power board meeting, and I apologize that I won't be available for the end of the meeting, Madam Chair, but I'm
I'll
in
send
full
you an
agreement.
email, Troy. Okay,
That would be very helpful. I can handle that during the board meeting. Thanks.
thank you.
If you're done here and you want Carson and I to leave, Carson, can you take the recording off? It wouldn't do them any good to have us leave and then have us listen to the recording.
And you'll have to share or give me the hosting or co-host also. So
Yeah.
otherwise we don't get hung up on. And I see Gene has his hand up again. I don't know if you're just going to type in there. No? Okay.